Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Prosper webinars. So I'm going to introduce you to our panelists here. We've got Praseeda Nair, who heads up our media business. We've got two publications, Real Business and Business Advice, which started off originally in print and then a few years ago finally moved to digital. And Praseeda was involved in that business then, and very fortunate to work with Praseeda for about the last 18 months now. And also on today's webinar, we have my business partner and our commercial director, Gerald Bradley, or Jez, who he likes to be known. So a lot of you will have come across Jez before on previous webinars.
Yeah, thank you for that, Michael. I think this webinar is kind of key because I always didn't understand where media fits in with the SME space till I met Real Business and Business Advice, and there's some real key learnings, which is good. And especially this year during lockdown, during COVID-19, you know, if people have got a good story and they are leading with purpose, you should get that story out so that, you know, even though the business landscape has changed, how we used to do business in the past has all changed. If you're leading with purpose and you've got a fantastic story, if you can get that message out to your clients via any media source, you can continue to do business, and you can continue to do good things. So I've got a couple of case studies coming up from some of our members within Prosper that have done just exactly that. They've done some fantastic stuff during lockdown using our media channels. So we're looking forward to updating you guys on that. Over to you guys.
All right, thank you both so much for having me here. Those of you who are in the attendees may recognize me from some of the other webinars where I was just the third wheel on the Michael and Jez show, but always great to be part of the team. And today's a little different. Today's webinar is going to be a little different. First of all, I would love to try to gear this away from being a webinar and think of it more like a quick masterclass. It's a breeze through highlights reel of what you need to do to get started when you make that step towards having a media presence. So I guess I'll just get started. And while I'm whizzing through, it's going to be a 7-step blueprint to get you noticed by the media. And when I say the media, I'm not talking just niche publications. I'm not talking specialist publications. I'm talking even mainstream, because like you may have seen on social media when I've been talking a lot about this, everybody has a story to tell, and everybody has something that makes them unique. It's not about being media worthy. It's about being media ready. So hopefully these 7 steps will help you get started, at least put the cogs in motion. And when we pause at step 4, there'll be an opportunity for you to sort of throw your name out there, throw your business out there, and in one line, tell me what you do and how you would pitch to the media, just generic. And Jez will pick his top 3, and we will dissect those elevator pitches in real time. My goal is to leave you to have something to think about, mull it over the weekend, and get active on our Facebook group and share your elevator pitches with us, and we'll try to help you as much as we can to get you there. So without further ado, pull in the media. So I'm just going to talk really quickly about the 3 main streams when it comes to media. What every single brand, every single human being owns are these 3 channels, 3 ways of getting noticed, 3 ways of making a mark. One of them being paid, the other one being owned, and the last one being earned. So this isn't rocket science. This is not new. I'm sure a lot of you are very well versed in this idea. And with paid media, it's the advertising you see on the tube, if you live in London, or billboards, or television spots, radio jingles, what have you. And on website, when it comes to digital, it's the banners that you may see. So if you go on to realbusiness.co.uk, for example, you will see some banner advertising. So the idea behind that is to get eyeballs on their message. So that's one way of getting heard in the media, is just getting people to understand what your brand's about and who you are. And there's a lot of other ways you can do paid media. You can also do advertorials, which is sponsored content. And that's a great opportunity, again, to get your key message out there in a way that's told by a third party that's well known. So any media outlet is an endorsable third party that gives your brand credibility. So instead of you saying, I'm amazing, have them say you're amazing. So that's the difference. With owned media, most of you probably have a website. If you don't have a website, you might have social media channels. If you don't have a website or social media channels, you might at least have a TripAdvisor page, a Yelp.com page, a Yelp page, some sort of product review page. As long as you have any sort of digital footprint on the internet, that's your owned channels. So a lot of times you can go hardcore and, you know, with your messaging when it's your own channel because it's your agenda. And then the last one, earned, which has those firework graphics behind it, is when you're getting other people to shout about your successes. And it's not just you sitting there going, we're great guys. And that's the ultimate sort of hallmark of success for a lot of people, is having third-party endorsements. Not just your business partners, not just your customers, but independent, objective journalists. So our goal is to get you to understand the 3 types of media and the value of earned media and how to get there. So step 1.
On that note, guys, just the first case study. I think it's a great one to come in because we're pretty good at Prosper, or very fortunate that we've got that many business owners that's part of our club. And I got wind of a fantastic story that was happening during lockdown, where a guy called Leo set up a company called Celebrity Esports, and he had an online celebrity FIFA 19 football match. So he had the likes of Paddy McGuinness just playing football, and you could watch them at home. And because there was no football to watch during lockdown, there was loads of people interested in this. And this guy's partner, Leo's partner, worked at the National Health. So he raised money for the NHS off the back of this. And he raised over £500,000 going to the NHS. Wow. I then raised that to Praseeda. And I said to her, I think this is something that we need to be talking about. Would I be right in saying that is your classic earned media?
Yes, that's an earned media, absolutely. If Leo posted a tweet, hey guys, we're starting this new campaign, that's owned. If he decided to promote the tweet, pay for it to get that coverage, then that's paid media. But earned is absolutely this, exactly what you said, Jez, where the story resonated with a third party with the clout and the domain authority to get that on a wider platform, like Real Business.
Yeah. This is a good example of businesses that are needing to pivot what they do during this time as well, because what these people had done before, I believe, was they were running an agency for celebrities and endorsements, etc. But all of that business dried up with the lockdown, and they wanted to find a way of doing some good, but also keeping engaged with their clients and getting their clients' profile and stuff out there. So they've managed to combine all of these elements, pivoting their business, changing what they do, keeping engagement with their clients and their contacts, and also then doing something good on a community basis as well. But you need media to get that story out there.
Absolutely. And it's exactly what you said. That summary in itself can be seen as a sort of elevator pitch for the media, which is what we're hoping to get you to come to. Because a lot of times when I speak to business owners, they go, oh, I'm just trying to keep my business going. I don't have anything special. Where is that coming from? Because if you got out of bed today and you decided to run your business, you decided to start your business to begin with, you have something to share with other people. And this is a big, big misconception that you need to be worthy of the media. You need to have something really exciting. It could be a human interest angle, like Michael just gave us that human interest piece about rising during a tough time. That's a beautiful story there. But even without a human interest angle, even without some exciting Hollywood endorsement or big celebrity backing you, you still have something to tell because you're still a normal story. And the media needs more ways of showcasing normal people doing well. that's what it's about as well. It's creating that community, and it aligns a lot with what Prosper does as well in terms of that community, helping people, paying it forward, and so on. So the first step is to start with your story. And this resonates so much with us on so many different levels. For me, not just as a journalist, but also with the work we've been doing with our Prosper hats on, you know, in terms of purpose and our own personal brand. And the idea is that, again, everybody has a story to tell. So the key thing here is the media wants something that will get their readers' attention. And in a way, knowing the publications you're reaching, knowing who do they target, who are their audience, like who's their audience, what's their reach, what's their style, that's going to really help you align who you are as a business owner with the kind of publications you want to be associated with. So for example, if you are running a beauty product and you're a beauty entrepreneur, having your product-based stories might make sense for a women's magazine, but having your personal story of how you started your business and what made you become a beauty entrepreneur could resonate with a business publication, or even the mainstream pages like Sunday Times might run a story about you as a small business owner. So it's about finding angles that resonate with the different media outlets out there. And the way you get started is by knowing what's your story. And there's so many different facets to you as a person. So there's so many different areas that you can pull up for different media outlets. So Michael, I want to ask you, what would you do with Prosper? Because I know you're a little media shy, but
a little media
how you started.
I'm massively media shy, or have been up to now. I mean, I used to be very proud with the fact that people would Google my name and not actually find anything else about me. And I've realised how naive and that was as a concept. So that's been a big change for me. And to be sat here now on a webinar, you know, if somebody had said to me at Christmas that I would be doing that, and this had been about the 5th or 6th of these that I would have done, I'd have said not a chance. And as you get more comfortable with it, it does become more enjoyable as well.
And that's the thing, it can be a little addictive, I would say, because we've had people we meet, like back in the days when we were allowed to go out and socialize with people, shake hands, have a drink. You know, that's like the most informal setting to have human-to-human conversations, and that's what it's about. I'm hoping as well, by me being part of these webinars, that we kind of bust some myths here, like, because journalists are just people, you know, we're just human beings, and we really want you to help us help you. So it's like, we need a story because that's part of our KPIs, and you want to get your name out there. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. Keeping that human connection in mind helps when you just go, listen, I'm having a hard time running a business right now. And don't be scared of looking bad. Because I've noticed this, and it might be a little cultural as well, because in the UK, people tend to, don't hold this against me, tend to be scared of failure, or at least talking about it. You don't want to look like you messed up, but we're living in unprecedented times where everyone's messing up anyway. And that's the best way to grow. I mean, if we had to take a leaf out of like the Silicon Valley model, or like how the American attitude towards entrepreneurship is like, you fell, I fell, guys, make a big deal. I fell, but look at what I learned from it. And I'm starting a new business now. So with real business, it is about those aspirational stories, people that are making it and people that have made it, and being vulnerable and talking about how you failed can help other people learn with you. So it's finding these unique ways of telling your story, even if you think it's not the best story to tell. You'd be surprised. I've got some examples.
Praseeda, I've just got a question that's been raised in the chat box from Paul Sweeney. He says, do you think there's value in creating an emotional connection with your story?
Absolutely. Again, it depends on the story. Sometimes, you know, you get the most ridiculous press releases. Like for me, I'll get a press release about, oh, we've turned over this much money. And I'm like, good for you. Why is that newsworthy? Why is that worth my time writing the story, getting to know you? Like, there's no emotional connection there. And it's about having a connection with the journalist. That's one thing. We'll get to that later. But having a connection with your own damn story. Like, what's the point of being a business owner if you don't have any passion or connection to what made you start your business, or what makes you connect with your customers? most entrepreneurs do what they do because they're trying to solve a problem. And that in itself should have an emotional connection. So I think, yeah, Paul, absolutely.
Yeah, I think also one of the things that sort of connects people, you mentioned the talk about failure, and it's a cultural thing. I think for the British don't like to talk about failure. They always talk about positive things, which, you know, but nothing wrong with positivity. But I know that certainly we've been to some events in the States, and they've started off by saying, right, we started down this program, we were trying to achieve this, we spent X million dollars on this, we did this, this, and this, and it was rubbish. And we got it completely wrong, and we threw it in the bin, and we started again. And for us as Brits to stand there and listen to that was really quite startling, because that's not what the sort of English mentality is. But when you talk about connection, yeah, you think, actually, I can really relate to that. And I think that's, you know, another aspect of sort of joining some of the things we're talking about here up that does create that, because, you know, reality needs to be a feature in what we're doing there, and that creates these connections, empathy, and the emotional journey that people go on.
That's so true. And I'm going to admit my failure right now here. I failed massively because I thought I could shove this beautiful 7-print blueprint into 30 minutes, and that's not going to happen. We're already at 12:20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just talk about the elevator pitch part, and then maybe we can take a couple of examples from the chat box. And this is where I need your help, guys, because I know there's interest in this. I've seen the number of attendees, I've seen the number of people registered, and I love what I talk about, and I know I can help you. So I would like to suggest that I skim through this real quick, get to the elevator pitch part where we can actually give you something tangible to leave today with. And then I'm going to put this up online on our Facebook group. And if you're really interested, we can always do this at a separate time. It could even be a real business webinar.
We'll do a bit of a deeper dive, more technical session, and then we'll put that out, I think, Praseeda.
If you like this so far, right? Trust me when I say this, and I'm going to write a quick article about it too, so you can have a taster. Let's save the rest of this webinar for a deeper dive. That's my suggestion. And for now, let's go straight to questions and do an elevator pitch exercise, if that's okay with you.
Okay, I've got a real good one from Andy Arya. Do you think that typical SME owners trust the media to fairly report a story about their business? Or do you think that media generally has DNA that looks to sensationalize every story?
This is why I wish I could go through the 7 prints. But listen, this is a really good question, and I love it, because now we live in an age of fake news, and we live in an age where we're suspicious of anything we read. And social media has democratized it in such a way that your opinion, you're a citizen journalist. You'll see Karen next door throwing a litter out the window, and you're reporting that. You're a citizen journalist. So people have a voice now, and people have a way of getting that out there. And normal people have an audience. Everybody has an audience. Everybody is a journalist in that way. But what makes traditional media different is that you're getting to reach thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of people, and people are becoming more discerning. Now, our industry has been shutting down left, right, and center. And during this quarantine period, most of my colleagues, not at Prosper, obviously, I mean my industry colleagues, most of them have been furloughed, laid off. There are websites that are shutting down, print magazines stopping their run. The media industry is in peril. And that creates that pressure to sensationalize. Yellow journalism, as it's traditionally called, is rampant. And that causes people to distrust the media. So it is a lot of people in the media industry trying to find a way to work with brands, companies, and have that ownership pass on. So this is why, stay tuned for my 7-step blueprint, because I talk about the reason to become a voice of authority in your own right, and writing contributed pieces and becoming that spokesperson, not just for your business or your brand, but for what drives you, what your values are, and what gets you out of bed in the morning. So that means writing guest articles across different channels, because it's your voice, it's for your best interest, and you're getting that endorsement from the media. So trusting the media to tell, like, you know, you do an interview and then get them to write about you, that's a really great stepping shown. But eventually, when you get to that point where you're a voice of authority, you're bypassing that middleman and you're sort of owning that space in the security of this third-party brand that reaches millions of people.
I think that goes back to what I was saying in the introduction, is that if you're going to be having a media presence, embrace it and control it as much as you can.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Obviously, you don't want to go down the Rupert Murdoch route and just buy up the Sun, but it makes sense. Hey, you control the agenda, so.
Yeah, but putting your own story out there, and I think that that's one of the things that we do a lot within the connections and stuff that we do with Prosper as the business club, but also with our media business. It's one of the aims of this is to help and guide people as to how to engage with the media and how to use media and get their story out there in a safe, controlled manner.
Exactly. And it also starts with finding a hero story. Once you have a hero story, you can create hero coverage and you can milk it until it's like off the top of your head, your story. When I was 12, I started picking up trash, and then I started, whatever it is, your story, it becomes so easy, just rolls off the tongue. And my goal is to get you to a point where you've got that off the top of your head. You meet anyone at a cocktail party, this is your story. And it's just so easy to carve out your own niche when you know your story. And there's so much more I want to share there, but I think we can take another question.
Yeah, so just off the back of that, Praseeda, I think from my point of view, within Prosper, we've got that many businesses that have got their own individual story. What we're trying to do is give them a bit of steering, just a bit of guidance as to how to get your story out in the best controlled manner so that people can buy in to your business better. But there's some questions there. So even though you failed, Praseeda, with regards to timekeeping, David Jameson is loving your presentations. That's good. Even though it's failed, where we are. There's one.
Thank you. I really needed that.
Well, I think what we've learned here is that there is plenty of interactivity that's gone on today, which means that I'm going to suggest that what we're going to do is we're going to come back this time next week with an aim to deliver some of the more structured content that Praseeda wants to get out there. And then I think we'll do that next week. And then the week after, we'll follow up with a bit more of an interactive session like we've done today. Yeah, and really see where we start to get this conversation and this story going.
Absolutely, I would love that. And I wanted to also say that one of the reasons here, like I said, my personal agenda is that I want every human being that has started a business, because that takes guts. And we don't appreciate ourselves enough for doing it. The fact that all of you online right now have done something to change the world, that is phenomenal. And I'm not bigging it up, I'm being honest. And I think we all need to get to a point where we can shout about our successes comfortably, and it doesn't come off as boasty. It's just who you are, and get that message to the wider world. So my personal goal and hope for all of you is to join me next week, and we will find a way to get your elevator pitch ready, roll off the top of your tongue, just like that. But until then, another key thing I wanted to convey here is that the way we've been working with some of the members at Prosper, and I'm hoping to just ramp that up as we keep going, is use your membership, your very sort of privileged position of being a Prosper member, having that community, use it to your advantage and leverage it, because you have access to international journalists. You have access to media experts who can actually help you create the message you want to create, reach the audiences you want to reach. And starting with the business community, your peers, other business owners, is a great way for you to make connections that can then translate to the ROI as well. So next week, I'll be talking about the actual ROI in terms of media and what you can get. Why should you even bother with coverage? Is it a vanity exercise? No, it's a business growth exercise. And I'll tell you why next week. But yeah, use us. We're here for that. We're here to support you. And I also want to share the beautiful examples we've had with the 3 or 4 different members we've worked with so far, how we've helped them get that foot through the door, and how we're going to help them keep milking it. So don't be too surprised if you see them in the business supplement of the Times someday.
Guys, can I just say, Praseeda, your passion is coming through, which is really good to see. And I think that's why the chat box is all dead keen to have more sessions. Guys, to find out more about what we're doing, if you want to join our Facebook page, it's called Prosper Together. All of our previous webinars are all on our YouTube channel. And guys, if you can, pay this forward, because it's such an interesting topic, you know, and it's a topic that shapes our lives. We can't escape media. It's everywhere, you know, and I just think it's something that we can really learn from. And Praseeda, I think people are going to really be buying into your passion and hopefully learning as to how to control their media message. And
I just want to say one thing for next week. This is great because I get a two-parter. So for next week, now that you've had a little taster and joining me next week, please come prepared. Maybe just think about, how do you want people to see, like, what's the one thing you want people to think of when they think of your business, and then when they think of you as a person? Just keep that in mind, because it's going to help you with the pitch.
But guys, please pay it forward. You know, this is a real good topic. It's going to be nice and meaty, and there's going to be an awful lot more to come.
And you'll get a checklist, you'll get this presentation, and you'll get Q&A time with me as well. So it'll be good.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Cheers. Bye.